Hello, what's up? It's Silly City back with HWY Behind The Recordz episode number 15. In this episode, we're gonna cover the R&B beat, and as always, we're gonna look at drums, the patterns, also the instruments, like the ambiente vibe, and also the song structure. So this week we also have a little bit of an addition. I bought a microphone because like the audio was a little bit muffled sometimes in the last two videos, so I thought let's get this upgrade, and yeah, I hope everything works out, and yeah. Let's dive into the drum patterns, and as always we start with the BPMs, the beats per minute. R&B music has a wide variety of BPMs. It can range from 60 to 90 BPMs, 90 to 120, and also 120 to 140 BPMs. It really depends a little bit on the subgenre and also the vibe you wanna get. In the beats I created for this week's video, I used most of the times like 97 BPMs or 112 BPMs because that's what I feel most comfortable like playing in the MIDI on the MPC or in Ableton. If you talk about the drums in R&B, it's important that you have a lot of swing and groove in the drums. Also, the sound of the drums are softer and more organic. In R&B music, we use an acoustic kick like on the acoustic drums, and the bass can be an 808 bass, a sub bass, or just a normal acoustic E bass. The kick and the bass are syncopated, and also there can be ghost notes in both. The snare and the clap are on the 2 and the 4, they are layered, and you can add a lot of reverb as always. If you want to add some groove, you can add ghost snares and some rim shots on the beat. The hi-hats in R&B music are soft and have a lot of swing. They can be in 16 pattern and can also have triplet rolls, which are less aggressive than in trap music, and you can also add some open hats for a little bit more bounce. If you talk about percussion, you can add some shakers, congas, wood blocks, some ring clicks, and also some snaps and reverse snares and cymbals just as smooth transitions. Alright, that's already the bass drum pattern. Let's dive into some beats and then we come back for the instruments and more. Okay, so let's dive into the beats. Here I just have some basic like kick, then some other just like basic drum elements. And here you see just like it's a simple pattern, like just a kick, a little bit of clap. It's nothing like really world changing. And then like I have some hats and you're gonna see what the other thing is. Yeah, snap and like a shaker. And like, I don't know, it's nothing really special, but it's like a little bit upbeaty, vibey. It has some percussions and like it's a chill drum loop, and I think from here you can like add some like melodies. But like, I don't know, I just want to put in some more beats and like just try a little bit more things, and yeah, that's why I just kept it like that. But I think at a later point I can come back and yeah, use that. So here in this beat, like I just have the drums in one track. Like usually I divide the track into like different tracks so I can just play the kick, the snare or the hat and whatsoever. But I think here when I did this beat, I just wanted to play the bass with it because I thought like the bass is fitting to like R&B. And yeah, that's what I came up with. It's not like a really crazy bass line or something, but like it changes the vibe. And yeah, I thought it was chill and like just as a training session, and yeah, that's what was this. So I wasn't really satisfied with this whole R&B vibe, so I just started playing also some melodies in, but here again, like we just have the basic elements like from the drums, like a little bit hi-hat. I think that's gonna be the clap snare, something like that, or a cymbal clap, yeah. Here that looks like a kick or something. Yeah, so that's also like a nice chilly vibe, and like I just started adding in some strings, like some synths, and yeah, also here I think this is some like ambient melody. But again, like I was just playing around and I wasn't really that satisfied. So yeah, that's the reason why we're gonna look a little bit more at like what are fitting melodies, and yeah, then also look at the later stage at some more examples. The instruments and melodics in R&B music are emotional, jazzy, vibey, and have rich chords with expressive playing. The instruments in R&B music can be the piano, the electric guitar, which is clean, reverb heavy and has a wah effect. You can add some synth pads, which are warm and dreamy. You can add plugs and bells if you want to have like a more modern trap infused R&B style. You can add like a live bass or an 808, it depends a little bit on the style. You can add saxophones, strings, and also vocal harmonies. In R&B music, you often use the minor chords and also like the seventh chords. Here I have to introduce again a little bit of music theory, and this is like the seventh chords. Usually if you play a chord, you have like the 1, 3 and 5. So if you talk about a C chord, it would be C, E and G. So if you want to have a richer sound, you can add an additional note. So instead of playing the chord with just the 1, the 3 and the 5, you can also add the 7, which would be B. So you have C, E, G and B. So this concept of adding chords is called extended chords. So instead of just adding the 7, you can also add the 9, the 11 or the 13 just to have some richer sounds. This concept is also used in some of like more modern electronic music like Afro House or Deep House, where you just want to have some rich synthesizer sounds. Coming back to the R&B beat, we can now look at the chord progressions. I'm gonna reference once again the numbers that I have introduced in the first video. If you want to go for a more classical or soulful vibe, you can use the progression 1, 6, 4, 5. So if we talk about the C major chord, it would be C major, A minor, F major, G major. Another progression we can use if you want to go for a more smooth and jazzy sound is the 2, 5, 1 progression. So if we take C major and take the extended chord, the 7th note to it, we have C major 7. And if we go through this progression 2, 5, 1, it would be D minor 7, G major 7, and then C major 7. So 2, 5, 1, D minor 7, G major 7, C major 7. In previous videos I said that if you want to have like a 2 or 4 progression, you can just make like 2, 5, 1, 5 instead of just 2, 5, 1, but you can also just play like 2, 5, 1 in one bar and use it as a melody or something. The last progression we're gonna look at is a little bit more modern and dreamy, and this is the 1, 4, 3, 6 progression. Again, if you take C major 7, it would be like 1 C major 7, 4 F major 7, 3 E minor 7 and then 6 A minor 7. So if you play chords, there are certain tricks that make your life a little bit easier, especially if you want to transition in between chords. Like if you always play the normal chords, you always have the same space in between the fingers and you can just go up and down, which is easy to identify chords, but difficult if you have to jump like from 1 to 6 or something. And here you can use chord inversions, which is basically a concept where you take your chord, you have like the 1, 3 and 5, but instead of playing the 5th note up, you play it down. So if we talk again C major, it would be like the first note would be C, the third would be E, and the 5th would be G. And now instead of playing the G in this octave, you can just take it 1 down. So you have the first finger on the G, and then like the 3rd finger would be on the C, and the 5th would be on the E. So it's still the same notes, but it's just like a little bit different and makes it easier to transition in between notes. Chord inversions are one way to make smoother transitions. Another way to make a little bit more smoother transitions on the ear are passing chords. And this is basically the concept, instead of playing like one chord and then the next where you have like da, da, you have like a passing chord, you go like da, da, da. And this just makes it a little bit smoother on the ear and also adds some movement in the transition of the chords. And like I mentioned before, you can extend your chords with some stacked notes where you just add like the 7, the 9, the 11 or the 13, and this also gives it a little bit like a richer sound, and you can also add some reverb and delay to make a little bit more lush and wide voicing. The ambiente and the effects in R&B music is like a lot of reverb heavy vocal harmonies and ad-libs. We have some filtered synth pads or also just some sweep filtered synth pads. You can add some noise texture, which is the tape hiss, some vinyl crackle or just some breaths. and also some subtle percussion layers, which are like hand claps or just like light shakers or snaps. Another thing you can add just for the vibe is like reverse piano chords, which lead into another section. You can add some soft risers, some tape stops, some subtle delays, just like on the last words of a phrase, and also some warm reverb tails on certain elements. At last, we're gonna look at the song structure as always, and here we have like a classic pop format with a little bit more vocal emphasis. As every track and R&B track has an intro which is like 4 to 8 bars, we use soft keypads and also reverb drenched guitars, some filtered drums, vocal ad-libs or just like some spoken words as an intro. Then we go into the first verse, which is basically 8 to 16 bars, where we use some smooth vocals, subtle drums and groove, and we also have a bass line that like fills the space. Next we go into the pre-hook or the build-up, which can be 4 to 8 bars, where we add some strings, have some synth swells or rising chords, just to add some more movement and layers to it, and also some more percussive layers come in to add more movement and texture. Next up is the hook, which is basically 8 to 16 bars, and here the full drums come in, and also like the 808 or the sub bass, or just like the classic E-bass, whatever you chose as a style. Then also you have some lush vocals and harmonies that come in, and they are also layered with some backing vocals, and you have like the full melodics and the top line that like stand out and have the focus on them. Next up is the second verse, which has like a slight melody or rhythm variation to the first verse. You can also like add some drum dropouts for the first half of the verse just to have some contrast. Then after that, it's like always up to you, like do you want to make a bridge, go into another hook, have another verse. Like here I'm just gonna show you like after the last verse you can add a bridge, which is basically 4 to 8 bars, where you can add in like a new chord progression or like an instrumental change to just for some switch up. You can like slow down the tempo a little bit, make it like half beat, or have a drum switch up, or just like a breakdown section where you just have vocals and pads, or just like the bass, whatever you feel is right for this track. And then after that, the final hook comes in, which is again like 4 to 8 bars. You can have like bigger vocal stacks in here. Maybe you can like change the key that you're playing in, or like the octave you're playing in, just to have some like emotional lift or switch up. And then also you can always add some extra drum fills or something just to add a little bit more energy for that final hook. And then in the end we have the outro, which is 4 to 8 bars, where you can gradually remove elements and then have some reverb or delay fade out. Before we go to the TLDR, I'm just gonna show you some more beats that I created. Like I'm still learning a lot, and like it's interesting for me, but I don't feel like the beats are that polished yet. But it's a vibe, and it also helps me like to listen a little bit closer when I listen to music I like, or to certain like artists or albums. It's like just nice to know a little bit of the theory and just to be aware what is happening, and then also like see, okay, this is something I like how could I get this vibe or play around with this a little bit. And yeah, so let's check in some beats and then we see each other for a TLDR. So like I already mentioned, I wasn't really that happy with the beats that I created. They were like chill, but like it didn't feel like a really R&B track where I could also imagine some lyrics or something. So I started over, and then here we just like have the kick again, like the basic pattern of the kick and drums was always like quite the same, like we saw in the first part of the video. And then also like the snare hats, and then also some percussions, like it's not so much, but it just adds a little bit of like the elements. Also here some effects that just like bring an ambient vibe into the whole thing. Like I think always like the keys or the piano, for me they bring in like the basic vibe that I like, and it's also chill for me because like I really enjoy playing the piano. And then yeah, from there I just started playing some melodies, adding some different elements or like instruments, and then again some ambient sound vibes. And what is this? Yes, again some strings, just as a little like different vibe to the whole thing. And I thought like this was a really nice beat, but I don't know, I didn't want to go through with it and structure it. That's why I did with the next beat, and that's also the beat that's gonna be released on Saturday as part of the Unfinished Beats Volume 2. So this is the last beat that I tried in the R&B vibe, and like at some point I'm always like, okay, I have like 1 or 2 more beats in me and then it has to work. And again here we have just like basic drums. Like again, they are as the pattern that we discussed in the first part. And then like here I have like some more elements. We're gonna see it in the later view a little bit better. It's like kick and the 808. And then here also some more like melodic elements. And like I really digged it, but I thought it was much, so it was a lot about the arrangement, and that's what you're gonna see in the next part. So this is how the track looks like, with every element a little bit more structured. As you can see, it's not everything playing all at once. Like I see that there are different elements at different points, and that like everything has their space, and like yeah, you can hear the stuff properly. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna show like a little bit an extract from here. Like it's more mellow and chill, and like yeah, ambiente sound and vibes. And yeah, I don't know, it's a chill track. Here I also added in like a little bit of the bass that I played, so I thought that's always nice for some like R&B vibey. And then also like at a later stage I started adding in like the 808, or is already here a little bit before. And yeah, I think it's a vibe. So yeah, that's like the track that's gonna be released this Saturday as part of the Unfinished Beats Volume 2. And yeah, that's it for the beats for this week, and we're gonna recap everything in TLDR. And yeah, TLDR of how I do an R&B beat. I use the range between 97 and 112 BPMs. I have a kick and a bass that are syncopated and have ghost notes. The bass can be an 808, a sub bass, or a classic E bass. The snare hits on the 2 and the 4, and it's layered with a clap and has reverb. Hats can hit in 16th notes. They are softer and have swing to it, and can also have triplet rolls. The playing is rich and expressive. We can use instruments like the guitar, the piano, or the bass. We use the minor chords. We can play with inversion, passing chords, and stacked chords, where we add notes like the 7, 9, 11, or 13. And then we can also use reverb harmonies and ad-libs, some tape hiss, claps and snaps for ambiente sounds, and also some reverse piano chords just for transition into other sections. And the song structure is a classic pop format. That's it for this week's HWY Behind The Recordz. Next week we're gonna be back with a hip-hop beat and gonna explore that genre a little bit more. Until then, stay healthy, have a nice week, and see you, bye!